But the reality of managing behavior is every student will wait to be told what your expectation is, and if they don't get told, they will make up their own expectations. Welcome to the Calmer Classrooms channel. I'm your host, Tarun Stevenson, where we are all about helping teachers establish and maintain positive behaviour in the classroom. You can catch us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or your favourite podcasting app. So make sure you subscribe and follow so that you don't miss any of our episodes. All right, here's the latest episode. Let's get into it. Right, this is it. Number 1, the first foundation for establishing and maintaining a calmer classroom. And the first foundation is this: you need to establish clear expectations. I was working with a teacher once and she was complaining that the students in her class didn't behave. They never did anything that she expected them to do. They wouldn't line up properly. They wouldn't put up their hand. They wouldn't sit in their seat. They were calling out. They were doing all this stuff. And I asked her the question, I said, have you ever taught them that this is your expectation? Well, she paused and she said, no, I don't think I have. She just assumed that because these particular students were in year 10, that they should know how to behave in a classroom and she wouldn't have to teach them. Now, it's a fair assumption. I would expect that year 10s do know how to behave in a classroom. And do you know what? They probably did know how to behave in the classroom. But the reality of managing behavior is every student will wait to be told what your expectation is. And if they don't get told, they will make up their own expectations. Even when they know what appropriate behavior looks like, frequently they will do what they want until the teacher has clearly indicated what is appropriate. So if you haven't taken the time to explicitly teach your classroom expectations to your students, I want to encourage you, start your day tomorrow doing exactly that. Before you've done anything else, start your day clearly communicating your expectations. Now, by expectations, I mean a short set of rules that helps you to manage most of the behaviors in a class. I recommend that you don't have more than 5 rules in a classroom. Any more than 5 is too hard for the kids to remember and too hard for you to enforce. Also, these rules that you teach them should be broad, general, catch-all type of rules. You don't want rules to be too specific or too honed in, because then you're going to have dozens and dozens of rules to deal with lots of different behavior. You need to look at what are the general behaviors that you're managing in the classroom, and how can you establish 3 or 4 or 5 really general rules that are going to help you catch all of that. So for example, in my classroom, whenever I teach my expectations, first expectation is to follow directions quickly. It doesn't matter what the direction is that I give them, they have to follow it quickly. And that's a catch-all expectation. That way, no matter what direction I give them, if they don't follow it, and even if they follow it and go slowly, they're not following my expectation, and I will have a conversation with them about that. My second rule is that they have to raise their hand for permission to speak. In the classroom, if you are talking, children shouldn't be talking. If you're giving instructions, nobody else should be talking. They should be listening to your instruction and paying their attention to you. If they want to contribute to the lesson, they need to wait their turn and they need to do it in an appropriate fashion. But you have to tell them this. My third rule is you have to raise your hand for permission to leave your seat. I don't like children walking around, because I find that when I let them walk around for little stuff, even sharpening a pencil or getting a tissue, then that little stuff often escalates into bigger stuff where they're disrupting people on their way, where they're taking their time to get back to their desk, where they're getting engaged in other behaviours while they're away from their desk. And so I have a hard and fast rule: don't leave your desk unless you've got permission to do so. Then I can actually manage the way that they move about the classroom and what's actually happening. The fourth rule is make smart choices. Now, it seems like a bit vague and a bit general, but this is one that I can use to actually help with getting out of arguments. So if they're arguing about their behavior, I simply have to ask them, is this a smart choice? Are you thinking about your actions before you actually do it? Frequently they'll know the answer, and it's an easy way to defuse that conversation. The fifth one that I love is I always say to my kids, you've got to keep Mr. Stevenson happy. If I'm not happy because of your behaviour, then it's going to affect the way that we go about this day. Now, those 5 rules I actually got from Steve Biddulph, and I recommend if you want some great behaviour resources, go and check out Steve Biddulph's work. Not Steve Biddulph. Chris Biffle's work. He teaches whole brain teaching. So Chris Biffle, he has a program called Whole Brain Teaching. It's absolutely free, and it's a great program to help you with behavior management. But the point of this video is this. Establish your expectations. Make sure you know what they are. 5 clear rules about classroom behavior, and then teach it to them. Teach them exactly what you expect of them, and teach them what the consequences are if they don't follow those expectations. So you be totally upfront, and then that way when you start correcting the students, they're not actually going to cry foul and say, oh, well, you never told me. I didn't know that that was your expectation. So there you have it. That's now tip number 1. Establish your expectations and explicitly teach them to your class. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you got a ton of value out of that. Don't forget to like, comment, and share with somebody who you think will benefit. We've got a range of online courses, workshops, and also bespoke training for schools and teachers. So if you'd like to find out more, click on the link karmaclassrooms.today and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Until next time, I'm Tarun Stevenson for Karma Classrooms.